Okay, so let's get back to this. We said cervical enlargement, lumbar enlargement, conus medullaris ends at about L2, right? It's the cap, the cover, the terminal end of the spinal cord. And then the tiny little filament that holds it down all the way at the bottom is called phylum terminale. And all of these that look like a horse's tail, all of this that swoops down is called the cauda equina in general. And then we have they don't even show it, but tiny little strings that come across. These are actually what they're showing right now are spinal nerves, but in addition to the spinal nerves are tiny little wisps, and they are called denticulate ligaments. So here we go. Cross section. The nice thing about this is it looks almost like a butterfly or an H, depending on what level you're at. White matter. So remember we said myelin is white, unmyelinated tissue is gray. So myelin is going to be axons, right, that are fast, sending the signal. Gray matter is usually, not always, but usually cell bodies processing information. So if you look at this, the butterfly on the inside is gray matter, so it's going to have cell bodies for processing. And then it's going to send the signal, once it processes the information, it's going to send the signal to the axons, which are also known as tracks. So axons or groups of axons in the CNS are called tracks. They're also called columns. So the terminology you're going to hear from now on, you might hear overlap with tracks, you might hear columns. Just remember that's a group of axons and what's its job to send information. What about gray matter? Well, gray matter is cell bodies, right? And cell bodies process information. Well, what are they called inside of the CNS? They're called nuclei. When they're outside the CNS, otherwise known as inside the PNS, the same terminology, should be using the same, but because it's in different systems, they call it ganglia. Old school terminology, ganglia were also known as nuclei. So be careful because some of the books, and sometimes I might say basal ganglia, it just means basal nuclei. But the two terms, this is an older term, and then this is the more current and what they use. But all they mean is groups of cell bodies found in either here or there. What do we have? We have gray matter, white matter, SAD, MEV, right? If I have information descending, is that sensory motor? Motor. If I have information ascending, is that sensory motor? That's sensory. So anything going up and into the brain is sensory. Anything coming down and out is motor. So if I said this was dorsal, this is the back side, and this is the front side. So this is dorsal and this is ventral. If I said there was a ventral horn, then you would say, oh, it's motor. If I said this is a dorsal horn, then you'd say, oh my goodness, that is sensory. Wow, so easy. And how do you remember that? SAD-MEV, right? So look, depending on where you are in the spinal cord, the proportion of gray matter to white is slightly different. And the shapes are a little bit different. For our level, you don't have to worry about the differences, but if you're getting into upper division work, yeah, you'll probably have to know what it looks like at different levels. So spinal cord segments, roots. Ooh, I love this. This is what we're